So I'm going to be quieter.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sexy.
A bit more dusky.
Yeah.
Dusky.
Whispering J.
Yeah. I'm going to take my pants off, I think.
My name's Arber, and welcome to this week's episode of the Formica Table podcast, where we'll be discussing episodes 17 and 18 of Twin Peaks: The Return, the final parts of season 3. I'm here with Killer Rob and Marked for Life Walker, the Richard and Linda of podcasting. Rob, tell the fine folks about yourself.
Hello, my name's Rob Valentine, and if I clap my hands and fall over in a forest at the same time, am I being needlessly pretentious, or is it art? I'll let Reddit decide.
You know, recently there was a murder in Denmark by a guy who'd sort of built his own submarine. You don't have anything to do with that, Rob, because you sound like you know something about that.
No, I'm podcasting from the inside of a tank this week, but that's my choice.
You're not in the Copenhagen Arber right now, okay?
No, I'm not. No, that wasn't me. That was another guy who just looks like me.
And Mark?
Hi, I'm Mark, and I still want to know how Annie is. Maybe I missed.
Thank you.
Maybe I missed a point.
Okay, so this is it. We've made it this far. It's the final 2 episodes. So what I'm going to do is each of you in turn just get your brief summary, and then we'll go into the details. So Rob, what did you think of these final 2 episodes, either individually or collectively?
I'll try to treat them individually, because when doing these 2-parters, my opinions tend to bleed over. But the penultimate episode, episode 17, pretty Twin Peaksy, but frustrating, a little bit inept, and ultimately pointless, and also difficult to judge it on. You can't judge an episode on its own merits because it's all part of a series, and the series is a failure. So penultimate episode can only fail, and episode 18, pretentiousness and vagueness is the last refuge of a tired hack. Mark, you go.
Jesus, that's harsh. Okay, I have to say that these last 2 episodes were mostly a thumbs up for me. Although I agree with what you say, Rob, about the failure of the series preventing these from being outright successes. For what they were for themselves, for what they had in them, it was satisfying to return to Laura and to try and rescue her story in this way. And no, not because I called it weeks ago. I mean, to be honest, I'm getting pretty tired of my theories being proven right all the time. But no, I liked it because it is, after all, Twin Peaks, and a narrative conclusion shouldn't have all its questions answered, sugar-coated and easy to swallow. There should be left something to talk about. And I think, in part, that's probably why Twin Peaks survived all these years, because it left us something to talk about and something to wonder about 25 plus years ago. So I did appreciate the ending as perhaps one that's truthful to the nature of Twin Peaks. However, where I did take issue is now, having seen these last episodes, and therefore we've now seen the whole season in its entirety, as I reflect on the last many weeks, I can't help but see a lot of opportunities that are missed, and the questions that are posed by much of this season, and the way some things, the whats and the whos, and the way things were introduced, how some of those things were often weakly or barely used at all, and that's where I start to feel dissatisfaction. So things like Audrey and Ben, many other story strands, I'm left with a strong sense of Lynch and Frost having wasted time, basically.
Well, from my perspective, I would describe the last pair of episodes in a very similar way as I would the whole series, where I would say it was 70% win and 30% lose.
Man, switch those around.
Perhaps I am in a grump this week. I know it, but I think the problem is I wouldn't risk driving over a suspension bridge with 18 supports, 6 of which were good. And unfortunately, when you're talking about a whole 18-episode story, that's what you're left with.
That is your first, I think that's your first non-food analogy. And it was brilliant.
Oh, thank you, and thank you.
Well, let's get into the nitty-gritty, as we are wont to do. Episode 17 opens with Cole studying his service revolver, saying that he couldn't do it, and Albert saying that he's getting soft in his old age, to which Cole replies, "Not where it counts, buddy." So I'm not sure whether that is Cole or Lynch talking, but then
that's funny. That not where it counts, buddy. Did you notice the sort of cheeky sort of Roger Moore eyebrow that Tammy sort of flashes? So
I did, yeah.
Guess, it was almost like she was confirming that Gordon's member was functioning well.
Yeah,
his wrinkly member. Sorry,
yeah.
What an image. Okay, let's go carry on. But just to make sure everybody caught that that was a bit saucy. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it was a little bit. Then Cole has got an admission to make that he's been withholding information from Albert and us, the audience, I felt.
Before he disappeared, Major Briggs shared with me and Cooper his discovery of an entity, an extreme negative force called in olden times Jiao Day. Over time, it's become Judy.
So apparently they've been on the trail of this entity known as Joe Day, which has been which over the years has become Judy. And we spoke, I think maybe a couple of weeks ago about Judy, and originally Judy was the sister of, oh God, what's her name?
Josie Packard.
Josie Packard, yeah. Although it didn't make it into the podcast itself, we spoke about the fact that they might retcon Judy, and that is indeed what has happened. And so now Judy, I think, is synonymous with the mother, the experiment character. This is something that Major Briggs and Philip Jeffries and Cooper, it turns out, were after ultimately. And one by one, these people started to disappear.
It's a funny time to sort of say, okay, this is what it's all about. This is what we've been chasing the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an awful info dump in the penultimate episode. This stuff should have been woven elegantly throughout the whole series.
Yeah.
I thought it was amateurish. Just you can't unjustifiable rubbish doing it like that.
Yeah, I was very disappointed.
And just while we're bitching, that fucking room.
Oh my God! Again with the room.
Wait, no. It's been explained now. All that equipment it's a plot convenience-ometer. That's what it is. They just tap stuff and they find out all the information from the series that they didn't know before. It's just at the tip of fingers now.
I love the way that Tammy zipped round.
Oh, it's terrible.
To look at the screen that was sort of like revealing kind of like animated pages that had been going on behind Cole's head the whole time, and was able to reel off a whole load of facts.
It's like when children play Office.
Look, Mummy, I'm doing what you do.
Yeah,
I've made a document.
Yeah, it wasn't very good, was it? It was that first scene, probably one of the weakest scenes for me.
Definitely.
It gave us a whole load of information, which, as you said, Rob, I think should have been spread out. And I think I've described the plot of Twin Peaks as like this bell curve where it's like slow. All of a sudden, this massive like race to the finish. And Lynch and Frost had years to write this thing, and I can't understand the dynamic, especially as they're saying this is like an 18-hour movie, and
That's a lie.
Yeah.
It's not an 18-hour movie. Whichever one of them said that,
Are you going to go around and duff them up?
Yeah. the way I think I might give him some harsh words anyway. But yeah, I'm Mark, are you feeling grumpy this week? Because I am, and it would be a terrible thing for you
I'm
both
not.
to work.
It's yours. You can take it. You can take it.
Fine, good.
I'm happy.
One of us
for
has to.
Yeah, no, but Tammy was just. I mean, one of the good things about the fact that this series is finished now, done, is that I don't have to watch Krista Bell wobbling about, just being unbearable, sucking in her cheeks and trying to act.
Oh, I bet she's going to loom heavy in season 4.
Oh boy.
So Jowday. That's where that's what we got from this pretty much.
Yeah, Judy is this evil entity.
What was that? Does anybody know what that business was about with Cooper giving a message about two birds he's trying to get two birds with one stone. What exactly? I mean, I sort of have a vague idea, but I don't actually, I'm not sure if I have any idea. What was that about?
Bob and Laura?
Right. Yeah,
I don't know. I think that it's still open to interpretation. Like you, Mark, I have some thoughts, but
the thing is, though, if you're like me, you have no thoughts. Actually,
oh, okay.
I was just saying that I had thoughts. Yeah, that was my podcast poker stance.
I mean, my initial thought was that it relates to doppelgangers in some way because there seems to be a lot of pairs and dualities and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that was my
probably if I think about it a bit more, maybe another week.
My question would be, does it matter?
Let's move on.
But anyway, we've kind of jumped around a little bit. But Agent Headley informs Cole that he's found Dougie, but he's lost Dougie, and Mullins steps in with a message from Cooper, which seems particularly oblique.
Am I talking to Mr. Gordon Cole?
Yes, you are.
Well, Dougie wanted me to read you this. I am headed for Sheriff Truman's. It is 2:53 in Las Vegas, and that adds up to a 10, the number of completion. That's all he wrote.
That was quite good, though, because that had me thinking about numbers all the time after that was said. It had me think. I was looking at it was all about numbers, these last two. There were numbers all over the place. It made me very number aware, numerically aware.
The whole series, I think, was.
Well, it has,
numbers.
but I'm not always. It's never been quite so explicit as it was in these two episodes, I think.
So anyway, eventually, with a bit of FBI computer shenanigans, they quickly come to the conclusion that Dougie is Coop, and they need to hightail it over to Twin Peaks.
Out of that hotel room at last.
And then we go to Twin Peaks itself.
I just want to say something about Bushnell, because we never really talked about him, but actually he was a big deal back in his day. Don Murray,
the actor, you mean?
Yeah, he was nominated for an Oscar and a BAFTA, and he was in that film Bus Stop with Marilyn Monroe. And it was actually meant to be Elvis Presley who was going to do the role, but he had to drop out for some reason, some military reason, I think. And so he was quite a deal. He was also in Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
This will be the end of human civilization, and the world will belong to a planet of apes.
which was debatable about whether that was the one of the Planet of the Apes movies that you wanted to star in, but he was in it anyway.
Whether he liked it or not.
But the other thing is that Bushnell was the name of David Lynch's old art teacher, who he adored and who helped him a lot.
Yeah, was very very supportive.
And he was in his first film as well, Lynch's first ever film. And given that this might be his last ever screen work, then maybe it's interesting to look at. But it's on YouTube if you want to see it.
Yeah, it's called Sailing with Bushnell Keeler,
and it features a very young Lynch on a boat with Bushnell, who looks not dissimilar to Don Murray.
Wow, it's all very elliptical.
It is. It's very like an Infinite Eight, isn't it?
So, interesting side note there, Mark.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. Told you I was prepared this week.
You're on your A game today.
Boom. That's it. I'm spent now.
So we return to Twin Peaks. and we visit the jail cell again, and where Chad is trying to escape from the cell, but the drunk guy, who may or may not be Billy, we'll never know, keeps waking up, eventually falls asleep sufficiently long enough so that Chad, who for reasons unknown has a spare set of keys in the heel of his shoe, lets himself out, gets a gun and some ammunition, and is confronted. I think we're kind of like hopping around a little bit, but never mind. Is confronted by Andy and is eventually slammed in the face by a prison door with the aid of the Hulk glove from our favourite Brit.
Yeah, I have a question.
I'm sure you have many questions.
Now, if Chad hadn't escaped from the cell, what would the difference be?
None.
What does that whole thing with Chad escaping, then getting recaptured?
None. It raised the stakes. It raised the stakes.
Yeah, a bit of tension.
It was a cheat, a time-wasting cheat.
Yeah. We didn't need that at all. Chad could have just stayed in his cell.
Did you need to get? Hang on. To be fair, though, did you need to get Freddy's jail cell door open, or was everyone vacated?
Everyone was vacated.
Everybody was vacated.
He came down and said, "I need to get you all upstairs."
Oh, fine. Then it does make no difference.
You could remove Chad entirely as a character from the whole series, which is something that you could do for several others. I dare say.
So it was some events. Yeah. Some events occurred that did nothing. Okay, cool. Just sort of thought.
Yeah, so Ben gets a phone call saying that his brother has been found naked in Wyoming.
See, I kind of wanted to see that.
Yeah, which made me think that Jerry has been running all the way from Washington State, diagonally through the entire state of Idaho, to end up in Wyoming.
I did love that Ben managed to identify Jerry by the fact that he was described as a man who thought his binoculars had killed somebody, and he was like, "Yep,
that's my brother, Jerry Horn."
Yeah, I have a question. Yep. If you removed that
entire story thread,
I can see a running theme here.
If you remove that, what would the difference be? Look, I'm not obsessed with the destination, but if I'm not enjoying the journey, then there better be a destination. And I haven't enjoyed the journey on these things, and there's no destination either.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Rob, because I don't have to do this. It'll be a lot of pressure, and
yeah. I see. I can't not agree with you.
Somebody has to say this stuff. They have to.
Yeah.
Right? Has to be said. Has to be pointed out because it's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't pretend to like all Lynch when the Emperor ain't wearing. He's not naked. He's just not wearing very much.
Yeah.
And I can't pretend that some of it isn't bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's carry on.
No, that is a good point. Because we kept cutting back to Jerry. And we had this hope that somehow this was going to tie into the larger story, or at least have some.
Unless his binoculars really did kill Dick Horn, in which case, he was crucial.
I refuse to countenance the excuse that maybe it'll pay off in season 4.
Yeah,
and I refuse to discount the possibility of season 4 at this rate either. But it's not an excuse.
God, really, taken as a whole, I think this was an unnecessary season 3, and that's not to say that I've not taken some pleasure in it here and there. And as I said before, great moments, an incredible episode 8. It's definitely some more impressive things came towards the end of the series, definitely. But I think a season 4, no thanks.
So if there's a season 4, we're not going to be doing a podcast for it.
It'll be hilarious if we do.
This clip will be hilarious if we do. It's like, no, definitely not. No. Welcome.
yeah. We'll dig up this quote to haunt you with. So that was Ben and Jerry. Yeah.
All that stuff about Ben. All that very kind of intriguing stuff with Ben and Ashley Judd and her husband and stuff. It went nowhere. I mean, it's actually pretty scandalous. You can't do that.
Apparently you can.
I have a theory. David Lynch, getting to the end of his career, owing a lot of collaborators and having affection for a lot of collaborators, making sure that they all get one last paycheck thanks to him.
That would explain something, yeah.
So that's the only theory that makes sense to me.
Yeah, but I don't think they would have been paid very much.
Probably not, no.
Because it was a pretty low budget affair to begin with, and if you're taking that budget and spreading it really, really
well, they could have saved a lot of money
hundreds.
by having half the number of episodes and half the cast, and it would have been a much better show, I'm sure. I'm really sure of it.
Of that, I think we're all in total agreement.
I did like the little bits of Mr. C driving through the night and the shots of the pylons. It just felt like, is he really driving, or is he travelling down the wires, and is the car a visual metaphor?
Don't get Mark started.
Travelling down the wires thing.
I loved that. I loved that.
It's true, actually, because they made a point of having the sort of black and white every time he was moving from one place to another. Yeah.
I just want it noted, I am still capable of love for this stuff, but it's making it bloody hard for me.
But whether he goes down an electricity pylon wire or he drives there, Coop ends up in Twin Peaks, and the coordinates, the accurate coordinates, are clearly taking him to Jack Rabbit's palace, and from there into the woods where he finds the entrance to what we assume is the White Lodge. And he is whisked.
I've still got question marks hanging over all the identity of these places, White Lodges and other places.
Okay, I'm just using White Lodge. It may or may not be, but he's whisked certainly out of the forest and into the lodge realm.
Yeah. Which coordinates got him to the White Lodge?
The one that was sent by Diane at the end. The full
I think Diane gave him the correct ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Top of Diane. Okay.
I must say I really like all this stuff when he's walking around in the woods and as he arrives at the White Lodge spot, the creamy golden silvery puddle thing. Just the woods and the nature made me think about how magical and how much the original Twin Peaks was sort of in tune with all this nature. It just reminded me of that feeling. It was one of the first times, I think, just the woods and him walking around there, no dialogue, it just made me remember how sort of big and mysterious Twin Peaks felt at one time.
So when Coop is transported into the lodge realm, it would appear that the fireman, who's still levitating with a giant head,
if you could, you would.
Briggs, would you?
Definitely.
I have no idea what you're alluding to, but
levitating.
Oh right, okay, right.
Oh,
yeah,
all day.
Yeah,
all day.
Totally.
That's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, maybe it's due to the lack of gravity on whatever moon of Saturn they're on.
I did really like how Mr. C's head is caged and contained.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. So that it.
And I loved when it turns and then you see his little top knot at the back.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a great little detail.
It's almost like the White Lodge had sort of CCTV, didn't it? And then they sort of, oh, here he is.
Yeah.
I knew he'd be here at some point, and then stick him in a box and then ship him off again.
Yeah, and it's definitely the most science fictional element. It kind of it's that all that White Lodge stuff really does make you think. Yeah, we're not really dealing with the spiritual here. It does feel more like we are dealing with some kind of other dimensional technology of some kind.
I think in episode 8 you get a strong sense of love and sort of more sort of cosmic kind of celestial going on more than sci-fi, but definitely sci-fi element, but yeah.
No, I think you're probably right. Yeah.
So it would appear judging by the screen, that maybe Cooper's objective was to get to the Palmer residence, because that appears on screen. And then the fireman does a motion with his hand, which is outside the sheriff's office, and then Mr. C is then deposited outside
he's not
the
happy
sheriff's
about
office,
that.
which is not.
No.
He really isn't. And Andy sees him, is very excited.
He always reminds me of that one. What's his name? Is it Odie out of Garfield?
Yeah.
Andy is like the human version of that.
Everyone's gonna be so happy to see you.
And I would like to see them too.
Yeah, the human policeman version.
Yeah.
Of that, yeah.
So was Mr. C's, because this is what we were talking about last week, was Mr. C's goal to ultimately go through the White Lodge to the Palmer residence? Was that?
I mean, personally, I don't know why he didn't just drive straight there, and why he had to go via.
Why would he go to the
portal.
Palmer residence?
Because maybe that's where
Right.
Judy is.
Okay. All right. This is all news.
I'm
to
guessing
me,
here.
So, but I mean, makes sense as far as this stuff could.
Well, I'm guessing purely from the fact that the Palmer residence was on the screen, and then the fireman made a motion, and it then moved to the police station, where he then deposited. Because I think the fireman knew what the end game was going to be. He knew that this was Freddy's destiny.
Do you think that's why? Just to skip ahead, but do you think that's why Sarah's so pissed at the end, because she's not been met by Mr. C?
I've got a different theory on that.
Back home to her, or
I mean, it could well be.
That's the first time I've thought about that stuff. It's the first time I've
point,
thought that Mr. C's destination might be the Palmer residence, but
Why go through the White Lodge to get there, unless unless time is a factor?
yeah, that's weird, because surely White Lodge is the last place you'd want to go.
Yeah,
but perhaps because Mr. C has been after these coordinates, he's maybe not 100% sure that where exactly it's going to take him. He just didn't know that he was going to end up.
It's pretty ropey stuff, isn't it? Yeah,
that's thin. That as Riggs and Myrtle would say, that's thin.
Well,
where
I think
here's a question: Do you think that Lynch and Frost have an answer? Whether we picked up on it or not, do you think they had an answer to that?
I don't think so. I think Mr. C's journey was a bit of a MacGuffin, because we never really find out. And when, skipping ahead, he's talking to Sheriff Truman, and Truman asks him,
"What brings you back to Twin Peaks, Agent Cooper?"
Unfinished business.
And that's as close as we get to a reason.
Given that Mr. C's journey and Mr. C himself was the closest thing we had to a protagonist for most of the series, I mean, really the majority of it, that's pretty weak.
That's not to say that there isn't a reason. It's just that I don't know what it is.
Neither do I, and I've been watching it pretty carefully.
Well, I plan to watch the whole thing from beginning to end.
That'll fix it.
I'm not sure whether it'll fix it, but
I'm going to wait for the 5-hour fan edit, personally.
That would be fun.
I do think
actually.
there's going to be stuff which is going to be like really, really obvious. In having got to the end, you go back to the beginning. You're going to there are going to be bits and pieces where you're like,
definitely,
okay, yeah, I see what they're doing there.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that kind of exploration, and just to see if anything reveals itself.
I'm sure it will. Definitely, there have been not very many times, but sometimes I've watched these episodes more than once before we've done the podcast, and that practice, watching it twice, you glean something more, definitely. Yeah. So I'm sure that going back, watching them all again would be worthwhile. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but
I'll report back, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, if you can just send me a couple of sheets of A4 with bullet points, that would be great.
So anyway, Cooper makes his way into the sheriff's department and gets in front of Frank Truman, And Frank Truman, I think, it's fair to say, is a little bit wary. I think he's never met Cooper before, but I think his hackles are up. And
I think Kyle MacLachlan is brilliant here. This kind of creepy Coop. He manages to pull off the perfect balance of sort of an old friend. You know, when he's talking to Andy in particular, it's just kind of like this sort of smiling old friend. You know, greeting, and it's sort of blended with a sort of recently recovered sort of crack addict vibe. And he's particularly good, you know. And this scene with Forster, Robert Forster, and Mr. C, it's painfully slow, and it's like a nightmare where you're sort of running in quicksand, you know.
I loved that bit.
Yeah,
I thought it was great. Yeah.
Frank gets a phone call from a very excited Cooper, the real Cooper.
We're just entering Twin Peaks city limits. Is the coffee on?
That was lovely. Is the coffee on?
Yeah. And I did like the way that Frank kind of managed to have that conversation without necessarily revealing who he was talking to. But you could tell.
I think he did.
But you could tell that Mr. C.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were going to say you admired the fact that he had the conversation without kind of doing the whole "I'm Harry's brother," blah blah blah. But he actually did say that he was Harry's brother, I think. So
yeah,
he said it to literally everybody who's ever spoken to him, I think.
Whenever he goes to the supermarket, he just tells random shoppers,
"Hi, I'm Sheriff Truman, brother of Harry."
Yeah, but it was that moment doing that just reveals that he's speaking to someone new, and that fact alone is enough for Mr. C to know who it is he's talking to.
Yeah,
and that was just with looks that was communicated. Again, I loved that.
Yeah. No, this was great. This little standoff between these two, it was like a Western, and it was great.
Yeah, it's like, you know, typically, you know, in a Western you have the man in black, and that was Mr. C.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got Frank with his cowboy hat on. And also, as another nod to the Western as well, when they finally draw their guns, and then Frank gets a
bullet goes through the hat.
Yeah, bullet through the hat. It's classic Western. Yeah. Classic Western.
It was, yeah.
And it turns out that
I didn't actually realise how much of a Western it is when I said that it was like a Western. It
really is.
Yeah.
And it turns out that Mr. C has in fact been shot by a very startled Lucy.
That was great. I thought I thought she was brilliant, actually, and particularly when Andy comes back in and she's still standing there holding the gun, sort of shaking.
Yeah.
It was great. She was so sweet, Kemi Robertson. Perfect performance. She's sort of waddling on the spot, kind of clutching and releasing her skirt. You know, you just sort of want to cuddle her or something.
Yeah. And I like to, you know, I finally understand how cell phones work.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
What?
It seems to be a theme that runs through these last two episodes, that something about not holding on to the past or nostalgia or your idea of the past and moving forwards. You know, it's there as well in the Audrey story as well. This kind of being held back, holding yourself back, getting stuck in the past and not being able to sort of progress, not being able to move forward.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of, you know, definitely between the season 2 of Twin Peaks and this season, you know, even though I hated how I didn't hate, that's too strong, but I didn't really like the initial scene that we had. I think it was in episode 4 when you introduced that idea that she doesn't understand cell phones. It seemed like just sort of cheap comedy, kind of cheap slapstick kind of thing.
Yeah.
But now this scene sort of seemed to give it some weight.
Yeah,
and
I felt the same.
Tie it into an overall kind of theme.
We've got Mr. C on the floor being shot, and Hawk runs in, who's very, you know, startled to see Coop on the floor. But then the real Coop turns up as the lights start to flicker, and we get an appearance by the woodsman who do the whole rubbing thing.
I think we can confirm now that it was an MOT before.
Yes, yeah. I'm going to put my hand up and say, no, I was completely wrong. Bob,
you don't need to do that, Jason.
No, but I feel, because I was so insistent that
you often are, but that's okay.
Oh,
that's okay.
Thank you for being so magnanimous.
And I think last time there was an MOT, they tried to sort of patch him up this time, but they thought it seemed like, no, he's too far gone. So they let Bob float off so he can find his next vessel. Because it seemed like this time they were trying to fix him and they just couldn't. Mm-hmm. That's how I read it anyway.
Yeah. Or that Bob realised that he was surrounded by, all of these people, and Cooper had the ring. I mean, who knows? But whatever it was, but Bob decides, in his beach ball of doom to, start going around biting people. I mean, I have to say,
I think,
go on.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say,
I think you're going to say the same as me. Go on.
Well, I really liked the effect of Bob in that ball.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. I thought it was a bit stupid, but
but given that this is an actor who died years ago,
exactly, it's a great solution, I suppose.
Yeah.
If you're going to have the guy physically in the room, and what's crazy about it is it absolutely seems that he's giving a performance tailored to this scene.
Yeah.
And of course, he could never have known that when he was doing that it would be a performance inside a flying ball, inside another scene, in another millennium.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is some of the stupidest shit ever. I mean, then the superhero green glove. I mean.
Yeah, Freddy says, "Fuck you, I'm Millwall."
Yeah. I mean, credit
him.
to Lynch. He is the only living filmmaker who could ever get away with this stuff, and people still take him seriously. Yeah. And that's because he is wonderful in so many ways, and just a sort of global treasure to the filmmaking community. But really,
ooh, I mean.
Yeah.
And
it worked. It kind of worked.
It kind of worked. Although
yeah.
I'm not 100% sold on Freddy. I'm not 100% sold on his magic glove.
No.
He
and I'm
seems
not 100%
like...
sold on Bob being floating around in a ball that you can smash.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
But Coop knows all about Freddy.
Yeah.
So he's fully briefed.
I assume
on
the
plan.
fireman kind of like let him in, in some oblique way.
I don't mind that though, because Cooper has always been ahead of the game. That's always been one of his character traits in a way that he always, like, we're just mere mortals, and Coop is sort of tuned in to a different frequency from the rest of the planet, and that's kind of okay. I can imagine that it does definitely get frustrating, and sometimes there are liberties taken with that which are just not right. But I'm kind of okay with it.
Oh, in that case, I was just making an observation in that case rather than a criticism that Freddy, although he is weird and he's a weird conception, it's definitely the case that the fireman has foreseen all of this and laid plans to deal with it.
Yeah,
that's essentially what we can glean from this.
And then we get this epic battle between Bob and Freddy, which eventually culminates in Freddy giving him a right old punch, which shatters the ball, which then melts into the ceiling. Yeah. And there we go. That was the end of Bob.
Well, it was pretty exciting.
But
I enjoyed everyone being in the same room. That. Good. People, they're all here together.
And
now.
Everybody kind of like looking slightly disbelievingly. What the hell? It's like Frank Truman went into work and it was a normal day. All of a sudden, this is all happening in his office.
Yeah, did it me or did Frank's office get considerably bigger?
I thought it was like massive. It was like a basketball court or something.
It seems to me like they shot in another space, and then they got to do this, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna need a bigger office."
Yeah.
So they moved down the hall or something.
Yeah.
Actually, when Mr. C first took a seat in front of his desk, he's a long way away from the desk.
Yeah. What's your point?
It's a big room. That's all. That's it. So this is what I'm reduced to now. Just is Diane, the character of Diane, a late replacement for Annie.
I thought the same. Yeah.
Because this whole thing would make far more sense if that character was Annie.
Absolutely, yeah. 100%. I thought that when she was waiting for Cooper outside the Black Lodge later, when he exits through the normal, shall we say, exit with the curtains and the 12 striplings.
Yeah. It makes me very, very curious to think why they didn't use Annie and why they used Diane.
Yeah, and I saw an interview with Heather Graham, and she said, I don't know, I haven't heard anything, I'm guessing not, sort of thing. So it seemed from her response, and she seems pretty cool.
Yeah. She still looks pretty foxy. So.
Very foxy. And she, she just seemed to be sort of fairly bemused about what was going on and why she wasn't kind of being called.
Well, I think this links back into Rob's comment about Lynch wanting to use all his pals.
Yeah.
And if this was a big juicy role, who did he want to give it to? Not Heather Graham. He wants to give it to his normal cast.
I think this could easily have been split into two, though. I mean, I think Laura Dern's a fine choice for Diane, and it's great to have Diane here. But I definitely think that what happened in these last two episodes should have been Heather Graham's character, Annie. It's so strange to depart with How's Annie and come back and never know.
How's Annie? How's Annie?
It's not sort of fanboy wish fulfillment on my part. It's Cooper having a strong romantic attachment to Diane when which he had with Annie. It just screams to me in these last two episodes that Diane was a replacement, wasn't she? For one thing, I never thought of Cooper and Diane having such an unprofessional relationship.
Yeah,
I expected they'd be all above board.
It seems more in keeping with Coop's character to have that professional distance.
I thought about that actually in the very last episode when they're sort of in the hotel making out.
Turn off the light.
What do we do now?
You come over here to me.
It just felt kind of un-Coop. If you look back at the Cooper that was established in the original series, and just the way that the kind of innocence of the way that relationship with Annie Blackburn sort of blossomed.
Yeah.
Annie, I'm involved in a fairly complicated investigation requiring my complete attention. Yet I spend most of my time thinking of you.
I know the feeling. I've been seeing your face in the fried eggs all this morning.
They were both kind of almost like teenagers, and it was kind of very sweet. And this is not really the same character.
Yeah. Did anyone notice that when Diane finally emerged from Nado, that her red hair was an echo of the curtains and she had black and white fingernails like the floor?
No.
No,
but I tell you what the red hair made me think of was the girl who was brought along to the airstrip in Firewalk with Me to demonstrate the Blue Rose case signifiers.
Yeah, Lynch likes that sort of thing because there's that weird blue-haired woman in Mulholland Drive at Club Silencio as well.
He likes wigs, basically.
Yeah.
Something I don't know if anyone else had any thoughts, but from the minute when Cooper notices Nado, there's this sort of moment of recognition, wordless recognition between both of them, I think. We start to get Cooper's head, this sort of ghostly image of a close-up of Cooper's head, fades in, superimposed over Cooper, and it stays there for a while over the scene, over the screen.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think this then is a answering to the question asked by Monica Bellucci about who is the dreamer. I think Cooper's the dreamer, and this is his dream that we're watching here. Because in that scene when she's talking to Gordon Cole, or maybe it's David Lynch that remembers that scene that's in Firewalk with Me, which is set in 1989.
I was worried about today because of the dream I told you about.
What this superimposition of Cooper's head gives you is this sense of being outside of yourself, of deja vu, of watching events unfold in the real time, and then having a sense of remembering them and experiencing them at the same time.
Yeah, and I think it does relate back to Cole's Monica Bellucci dream, because Cole says that he saw Coop, but he couldn't see his face, and it's framed so that his head is missing, and here we have the head.
Later in Firewalk with Me, Cooper says that he's connected somehow to Laura Palmer. He doesn't know her name, I guess, at this point, but Albert says, okay, let's test it.
What's she doing right now? She's preparing a great abundance of food.
In this scene, the current scene that we're talking about in the sheriff's office, Candy walks in after Cooper says something about Major Briggs and the fact that the past dictates the future. Candy and the two girls show up, and Candy says out loud to the whole room,
"It's a good thing we made so many sandwiches."
You know, I don't know if that's related, but it sort of felt like maybe it was. I don't know. I kind of liked it that it ties in with Cooper's fascination with Tibet and Buddhism, and you know this idea in Buddhism that we live our lives many times until we find enlightenment.
Rena, who is a Buddhist, constantly mentions all the Buddhist references that are in Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I mean this scene I think in particular or these two episodes were kind of screaming it. Also, as Nato is actually revealed to be Diane, and then Cooper kisses her. This sort of ghostly superimposed face of Cooper, the dreamer face, shall we say, it slowly disappears with the kiss to almost nothing. Just momentarily until it returns again in full when he looks at the clock, which has gotten stuck. To me, this means that Diane perhaps wasn't in his original dream, or perhaps they didn't kiss in the dream back then, maybe. But certainly, I'd say what that means is that this part was a change in what he dreamt back then in 1989.
Cooper also noticed that the time is 2:53, and it's stuck at that point in time.
Yeah, and 2, 5, and 3 added up is the number of completion, as we learned. Also, interesting to note that in Firewalk with Me, before Cooper says to Gordon about the dream that he had, he says that it's
10:10 a.m.
And I wonder if that relates to the completion thing.
Cooper also asks Sheriff Truman if he's got his old key, which Sheriff Truman has in his pocket. So we moaned previously about what they're going to do with that key thing, and it turns out he needs to go to the I wanted to call it the Great Northern, but
it is the Great Northern, isn't it?
I was thinking of the Overlook Hotel in 2001 for some bizarre reason.
Oh yeah.
And I thought,
in 2001, you mean The Shining?
Oh my god! you see what this episode has done to me? It's completely frazzled my brain. I can't.
My god.
Yeah. Holy smokes! Yes, Cooper. He has to go to that weird sounding room in the Great Northern.
Yeah, that's the sound that was in Ben's room, or that Ben could hear from his room. Yeah.
And the sound that James heard as well when he was doing his rounds. Yeah. He opens the door, so bizarrely that lock has been transferred from his hotel room to the basement where the furnace is, and behind that door he finds Mike, who repeats the poem to him.
Through the darkness of future past, the magician longs to see one chance out between two worlds. Fire, walk with me.
Cooper says, "I'll see you at the curtain call" to Dan, which links to when he emerges from the lodge through the curtains, I guess.
When they're walking down the corridor, I thought for a moment they were going to break the fourth wall or something, because it looked like it was a studio with. I thought they were suddenly going to walk around, around the back of the flats of the sets, and then
it was going to turn into Inland Empire or something.
yeah. I thought, what's he up to now? Yeah. Also the fact that he said curtain call though, that sort of swung me to thinking.
Initially, my initial thought was, this is some sort of like meta nod to the audience, but I think it was so that Diane knew where to go to meet Coop when he emerged from the lodge.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, he goes into the convenience store or the room of the convenience store.
Yeah.
And is eventually led to go and see Philip Jeffries.
I did see the Tremont boy or Chalfont boy or whatever he is, the jumping boy, now a man, I suppose. I did notice actually in one of the previous episodes that Sarah Palmer's face is actually superimposed on top of the jumping man's mask. The white mask.
That happened again a couple of episodes ago when we first.
That's right.
Went up to the room of the convenience store.
So, no thoughts about that?
With a bit of retrospection, I think it's probably linked to Judy.
The children of Judy.
Perhaps, yeah.
So, children of Lilith, isn't it?
Children of Judy.
With this series, we don't really know. We don't learn much about what Sarah Palmer is.
That's also a bit criminal, the way that's just left.
Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Where Coop goes through the convenience store, ends up with Philip Jeffries, and so Coop asks him about the day
before Laura dies, 23rd of February 1989,
and Philip Jeffries has the power to send Coop back in time.
The date, February 23rd, 1989.
I'll find it for you. It's slippery in here.
And we get a huge wad of footage from Fire Walk With Me.
Oh, hang on. Oh, you're running ahead a bit there.
We get the symbols in the steam.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yep.
We finally get the answer to what the owl symbol means, and it's kind of disappointing. But it's an 8.
I think all it's saying is,
which represents infinity
and things looping.
But it feels a bit retconny, a sort of oversimplifying the mystery and the potential potency of this symbol.
I'm not sure that it's saying this is entirely what this symbol means. I think this is, you can use this symbol as a way of getting to the infinity symbol.
You know, in Alien, when you got that, when they first find the ship, and it's like that massive elephant face.
Yeah,
the space jockey. Yeah,
corpse. The space jockey. Yeah, and then sort of fast forward to sort of 35 or so years later, and we're meant to swallow the idea that it's sort of a humanoid god that created human life, thanks to Prometheus. It was a bit like that. Oh, it's an 8, is it? All right. Okay.
Yeah, just as a side note, I never understood the desire to explain who the engineers were.
As soon as you do, you kill the device. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They dealt with it in the comic books. It was better, but anyway.
Yeah. I think there is definitely a parable about artists. It's better not to revisit stuff you did 30 odd years ago, because you're gonna fuck it up. Yeah, is it the case that the sort of the owl symbol, which obviously Hawk refused to explain to Sheriff Truman because you don't want to know about that?
You don't ever want to know about that.
Really?
Really?
With it, the two wings it's the upper part of essentially the infinity upstanding figure 8 figure. It's a break in the circuit, isn't it? So it's if you bring the kind of the whole reincarnation thing into it, the whole kind of infinity, going around in circles kind of thing, it's a break. It's a break in the chain.
Yeah,
that's essentially what it is. Yeah.
Well, there was a break in the 8. There was, in fact, what it reminded me of kind of it looked like a moon,
a weird orbit,
sort of orbiting, or following the path of this 8. It made me think of like Saturn's rings, and then one of the moons kind of going around it. I'm sorry to keep going on about Saturn. I can't help it.
There's a time if Jupiter and Saturn meet. They will receive you.
Yeah, it definitely had like an orb-like quality to it.
No, I don't mind actually. I don't mind the 8 thing. I just that owl symbol was so loaded that it seems a bit cheap to, first of all, to change it and say this is what it means. Like, why can't it be the symbol that it is and mean something as it is without kind of changing it graphically to become something else entirely. I'm totally down with the infinite time loop and all that stuff, but I don't like the retconning of this symbol that has been present throughout the whole of Twin Peaks and on the ring and all that sort of thing. I think changing it somehow is
I mean, it occurs to me that the symbol that Mr. C had on his card, the kind of like more kind of like filled in circle with the horns. Was that Mother, and does that? I'm sorry, I'm formulating my ideas as I'm saying it. Lend more
No, go for it.
Lend more credence to the fact that he was trying to make his way to the Palmer residence to meet up with Judy, because when we see one of the shots of the experiment or Mother or whatever you want to call it, she's got a very round head and horns sticking out of her head.
I suppose that lends more credence to the whole Christian mythology thing I've been going with, but a bit on the nose. But yeah, I missed that, the horns thing.
Yeah, it's in episode 8 where you get a shot of her vomiting all the eggs out. You can see horns on her head.
Right.
And if that was his ultimate goal to meet up with Judy, maybe that was his mission all along.
Yeah, I mean
it's all very impenetrable metaphysics that doesn't mean anything. I mean, maybe it does, and we're just not bright enough or whatever. But I don't know. It's thin ice they're skating on here with this stuff, I think. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do the kind of the straightforward the conventional storytelling stuff, fine. Or you're going to do the kind of the deliberately opaque, kind of more experimental thing. But this is kind of falling between both stools for me.
Mm.
I mean, Lynch is a master at this stuff. I mean, Mulholland Drive warrants endless rewatching, as does Lost Highway.
Funny how secrets travel on.
I don't want to skip along to the next episode, but there is a lot of Lost Highway in this.
Yes. There is, yeah.
And I love Lost Highway.
Yeah, and it seems so polished and finished compared to what we've been getting here.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Lynch is always mysterious, and it's up to you to kind of read it and stuff. But it's
very rarely this ropey.
So
much of this feels like it's held together with sticky tape and string.
Yeah.
Whereas
that's the thing. Lost Highway, for example, is
so confident.
It's graspable.
Yeah.
There is an internal logic to all of it, whether it's apparent or not. You can go with it because everything really does mean something. With this, I kind of feel it's almost like someone is doing David Lynch or trying to. It just happens to be David Lynch trying to do David Lynch. One quote. This will probably get cut from the podcast, but do you think Philip Jeffries is happy in his tank?
He doesn't seem particularly down.
No, he seems okay about it, but it's just a weird fate for a FBI agent, isn't it?
But it just seems like he's got shit to do. He's got shit to do in there. Some days it's slippy in there. Some days it's not.
I suppose so.
It doesn't sound boring.
No, that's true. He doesn't sound bored. I'm just kind of worried for him.
Sounds like a variable climate.
Yeah.
And he's got constant visitors.
People come and see him.
Yeah.
Okay, I was kind of worried about that.
I wonder if in the next Kettle Along you've got Chris Isaac, strumming away on a guitar.
Oh, that's dark.
Yeah. I was really hoping Chris Isaac would have made an appearance.
I would have loved it.
Yeah, me too. I thought he was so good in Firewalk.
He was.
I could, like I said before, I could happily have had that sort of Kiefer Sutherland and Chris Isaac spin-off. But I did notice actually in the White Lodge, or what it is that we're calling the White Lodge now, in the theatre scene space, off to the left there was this. You could see there were just rows and rows of what looked like these percolator things or bells or something.
They were actually theatre seats because it's shot in an actual theatre in.
I know it is. I know it's shot in the same theatre as. Yeah. I don't know about that. I think. Have a look again. Because it looks to me like they've just taken all the chairs out of that main space.
I'm looking at it now. Just talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Just while
I'm just looking at Facebook.
Okay, one question. Is the fireman isn't God, is he?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so did Mike see the face of the fireman and become purified then?
And cut his arm off?
Yeah.
But then I saw the face of God and was purified. I took off the arm, but remained close to this vessel, inhabiting from time to time for one single purpose.
To find Bob.
To stop him!
Oh yeah, he's definitely a godlike figure, isn't he?
He is.
I thought that from his appearance in episode 8, definitely.
Actually, do you know what? The whole White Lodge stuff kind of looks.
Yeah.
If you did the modern kind of Wizard of Oz, it's a very Emerald City to me.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the wizard.
Yeah.
Do you know what, Mark? I am totally wrong, and you are totally right. That is a shit ton of those kettle-y things. I thought they were theatre seats.
Oh no, it's loads of those Philip Jeffries coffee pot things.
I think in future, just don't question me.
Do you know what? I have learnt a lesson today, and that
Only
is
today?
never try and second guess Mark. Mark knows it all.
Don't fluff me. I don't want your damn fake fluffage. But what we were talking about God, weren't we, Rob?
Oh yeah, just is the fireman God? And if he is God, well, no, is he God? And did Mike look into his face and be purified, or is there an actual God?
I suppose the fireman, fire is a purifier, isn't it? Burning is a cleansing of sorts.
But fire also seems to be linked to evil as well.
That's true. Margaret's husband, the love lady's husband, was a fireman.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Who I believe had something to do with the White Lodge. So maybe it's him, and maybe he's just he got promoted fast. I don't know. Lots of questions. Shall we?
Yes,
let's go back to the future. Yes.
Where we're going, we don't need coordinates.
We have the strange scenario of Cooper of being inserted into events that have already taken place in Firewalk with Me.
See, now I predicted this in if you listen to episode podcast number 14, around 20 minutes in. It's not that I've gone and checked it, but I do mention the idea of a sort of timey-wimey time traveling type thing. I also with some apprehension, I predicted that maybe it's going to be a bit like when Pam wakes up in Dallas and Bobby's in the shower.
Yeah.
But I did also say that maybe it's going to be a bit more elegant than that. And it might be something to do with Philip Jeffries and timey-wimey time travel and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And thus it was. I'm glad it wasn't only that, but yeah, that's what we got. And then we got Dale popping up in random scenes in Firewalk with Me.
I like the well, I'm not sure like is the right word, but in Firewalk with Me, where Laura Palmer randomly screams, and now it's been retconned into that's because Dale Cooper was peeping from behind a tree or something.
That was a bit try hard, I thought. That
bit.
Yeah. But other than that, I sort of, it felt right to kind of go back and have Cooper continue his mission. To have the sort of Boy Scout try and complete the mission. And save her in this bizarre way.
I liked this return to Twin Peaks proper, and it really occurred to me, because remember, Jason, before we started watching this third series, we caught the final episode of Series 2 together.
Mm-hmm.
And really, in terms of Cooper's personal experience, this whole thing is just a continuation of that pickle for him. He hasn't stopped since then. This is the same runaround for him, And
actually, I thought there was something really touching about Cooper's kind of dogged commitment to this cause to save this young girl. The idea that he's been doing this now for over 25 years, and also, coupled with sort of Laura's inherent goodness that got corrupted, I guess.
I mean, this is the heart of the whole thing.
Yes,
and actually, I will. When this episode started and I was watching the very beginning of the opening credits, I usually mention this at the beginning of the podcast, but I'll mention it now. It occurred to me that really Laura, I don't think, has loomed large enough over this series, but I'm really glad it got us to where it got us at this point, because I felt like, finally we're back on track with what this is actually about.
Yeah, I mean, I did my
and it felt great.
I did my speech last week about David Lynch not really loving Twin Peaks as much as he loves Laura Palmer, and I think this sort of proves it, because I mean, this is he felt like he sort of switched into fifth gear here. He woke up. And this is the stuff you can feel. This is the stuff that he really cares about, that he's really interested in. Along with sort of creating the mythology in episode 8, it's like he was just coasting until he got to this bit, because this is the bit that he was interested in.
Oh yeah, it's really apparent watching all these 18 episodes, the bits where he zones out. And then suddenly he's back in the room again, and he's really on it and in the zone.
I thought that as well. I thought it was like he couldn't wait to wrap up the Twin Peaks bit so he could get onto this kind of coda part of the story.
Yeah, which basically is the coda to the whole of Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why, as a filmmaker, you would want to go back and tackle Twin Peaks again.
Mm-hmm.
Why on earth he put himself through at least sort of 10 hours more than he needed to. I don't know.
Maybe it's because Mark Frost was involved as well.
Maybe. It struck me again, actually, the scenes with Cheryl Lee and James Marshall. I mean, all joking aside, James Marshall is really, really good, and she's outstanding. I think maybe the fact that just turning it black and white is like kind of almost watching a new film. But they're both incredible, especially in that scene. They're both really, really good.
What I liked was because it took me a few moments to realise that the Laura Palmer who'd got off James's bike had segged into a new performance.
Who is playing her?
Well, she is.
What, she's doing the young Laura Palmer?
Yeah. In the woods.
But how do they do that though? Because she looks young. To me, it looked like a different actress. It looked like somebody who looks very, very much like Cheryl Lee, but isn't Cheryl Lee.
Did they do any of that sort of Michael Douglas, Robert Downey Jr. in the Marvel films, they've started youthing actors. Did they do any of that?
They may have done that, or it's just because it's in the dark. You could get away with it a lot.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the frame now, and it's definitely Sherilyn Fenn.
You mean Cheryl Lee?
Cheryl Lee, I mean.
Yeah. We need to get you to a hospital fast. It looks a lot like Cheryl Lee, but it looks a little bit like it's somebody who is almost a dead ringer. It actually, do you know who it reminds me of? And it's probably not her, but it reminds me of Alexa Develos from. She's in that. What's the Philip K. Dick thing called on Amazon? Man in the High Castle. She's like the lead female role in that. She looks spit like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at it now, and there's a really, really clear shot.
I don't think they've got the money to do the Robert Downey Jr. and Michael Douglas amazing CGI jiggery pokery, but maybe they do. I mean,
it could. I mean, with Kurt Russell in Guardians, that was a makeup job on that one. They went for a different approach.
Oh, really?
That was just.
What? There was no CGI.
No,
involved?
there was CGI involved. Kurt Russell said that it was a makeup job, but I read an interview with the CG guys who just said no, that's just Kurt being Kurt.
I think he was probably making a joke.
Okay, because it didn't look as good as the Michael Douglas and Downey Jr.
But anyway, I just don't think they got the budget for that kind of thing.
They pulled it off. Whatever they did.
They totally pulled it off, yeah. I mean, I noticed though that they kept quite far away from her. So whether that's because they don't want to see that she's as old as she is, or they don't want you to see that it's actually somebody else. Anyway, basically, job well done.
Yes, yeah.
In fact, in a way, it was almost distracting. It kind of pulled me out of it a little bit because I was wondering about the sort of technicality or the logistics of achieving this. More than I was, but as soon as he took her hand and then they were walking off in the woods together, I became emotionally involved with it.
Yeah,
because that's what Cooper just wants to take her back to the White Lodge, essentially home, and that's it. That's his goal, isn't it? Really, to find Laura, bring her back.
Yeah.
Yeah, which he does, and then we have the bizarre spectacle of Laura Palmer's body disappearing off the beach.
Yeah, which was great. It was fantastic.
Whether it's like a fracturing of the timeline, erasing a previous timeline, or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was intrigued by it, and I was kind of like.
One thing I did like at this point, we went from black and white to color.
Yeah.
Just like the Wizard of Oz.
Ah, that's true.
There are a lot of Wizard of Oz references in this, all the way through.
What I was disappointed about, it was lovely to see Jack Nance.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
I was disappointed they didn't let him say, "The lonesome foghorn blows." Because I always like that.
This particular episode got in memory of Jack Nance at the end of it.
Yeah, and that must have been special for Lynch as well. I mean, they were sort of best mates, weren't they?
Although,
what
did he have him killed?
What?
Well, that was the allegation from what's his face?
Do you know who I am?
What from the angry small
the arm
man? The arm.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. But he also said that Lynch had sexual relations with his daughter as well, didn't he?
Yeah, and
like Leland
had Jack Nance killed.
Oh, that's
and you wonder why
he's
he's not in this
yeah.
series. Yeah, bless him.
Oh, that's sort of sad, really.
That's it for part 1 of this special 2-part episode of the Formica Table podcast. Next week, we'll be wrapping up our look at the finale of Twin Peaks: The Return and sharing our thoughts, opinions, and theories. So all we can say is, goodbye, my son. Until then, let's rock.